Hey, so we're in Birmingham. And
Yeah.
I'm sat with Tim and Rachel Hughes. Hey, thank you
Hello.
for your hospitality. It's nice to be with you. Now, look, this week, Home for Good did a little survey thinking about how particularly this post-millennial generation, this 18 to 24-year-old category, are responding to faith. And our survey found something astounding, that actually 51% of people in that age category are pretty okay about Christianity. They've had a positive experience of the church. Your church is full of that age category. Is that survey a one-off? Are you finding an openness around this kind of post-millennial generation?
Yeah, what we've been really encouraged by is, I think two things. Firstly, people feel very comfortable bringing their friends, their non-Christian friends to church. You know, I think I remember for me that had been a massive deal growing up, what my friends think, but I think people just feel very comfortable, come along. I think partly because they get to be part of a community, they meet other friends, but also they're confident that they're going to be made to think, that they're not going to be offended, they're going to enjoy it. So I think that's firstly been really exciting. And then the second thing we've noticed is when people come, different faiths or with no faith, they've often experienced something. You know, often they'll come up. The word we hear often is, I felt really emotional. Oh, wow. Really emotional.
Yeah,
we obviously believe it's the Spirit of God working in people's hearts. But again, we've sometimes, I think, tried to play down over-passionate worship or over-enthusiasm. But actually, no one seems to be offended or concerned by that. Again, I remember one time we had this a Muslim guy come in and people started singing in tongues. And I was thinking, gosh, what is he going to think? He said that was the most joyful experience he'd ever had in his life. And so we use this phrase, encounter with explanation. We're constantly explaining. This is what's going on. We're making it really... People hopefully can understand, they feel relaxed, they feel welcome, be at home, engage at whatever level you're comfortable with. And we're finding people who are enjoying coming and exploring faith.
That's amazing. I think sometimes we try to rationalise Christianity a bit too much. So we say it's all going to be about kind of intellectual persuasion. But I like this encounter with explanation. It's both and, isn't it? We are souls, we are heart beings, and we're also minds. And so this idea we're trying to reach the whole person, that makes sense. That makes sense. Rachel, do you think there's something different about this generation, this 18 to 24-year-old category?
Yeah, I think they don't have some of the baggage of growing up in church, particularly if that was a negative experience. I think of our generation. And
it's nice you include me in your generation.
Yes,
thank you. I'll take that.
Absolutely. That phrase, an inoculation against faith. I know lots of my peers. I talk to them about church, and I can almost see that they are conceiving this idea of what church is like. And I'm like, no. It's not that. It's not what you experienced when you were 10 at school, or it's not what you were dragged along to. You know, something very traditional, something that was unappealing to children or young people. Actually, church doesn't have to be like that. So I think the generation that you're talking about, that you surveyed, they don't have a bunch of that baggage. So when they come to church, there's a clean slate, and so they're just taking it at face value, which is great.
I think you're exactly right. That inoculation idea is not there anymore because Christianity is not mainstream, it's not establishment, and so people are giving it a fresh look, and maybe they're encountering something amazing about Jesus that's at the heart of it. And he's such a radical, he's such a revolutionary. Part of me wonders whether the ultimate kind of teenage young adult rebellion is to become a Christian these days, because he's so...
Well, that's
so amazing.
the Alice Cooper thing, you know. It's like drinking, drugs, throwing TVs out of hotel windows. That's easy. You know, following Jesus, that's hard.
That's a real rebellion.
That's rock and roll.
That's right. That's right. Oh, it's fantastic. I wonder too whether there's an interest in justice, whether that's part of it. And, you know, the churches that seem to be growing with that age category talk a lot about justice, trying to do something good, not just a Christianity that's about kind of turning up at church and singing and reading the Bible, but something that empowers you to live a different kind of life. Are you finding that too?
Yeah, definitely. So I think of a couple of neighbours just down the road. You know, they're probably a bit younger than us.
Just a little bit younger.
A lot younger than me then, okay.
But... you know, we invited them over, hanging out, telling them about what we're doing. And then I got a text saying, do you do any kind of homeless projects or anything?
Wow.
You know, we really want to get them, you know, so actually we could say, look, come and check out this. And it's funny, that seemed to be a bit of an inroad into exploring faith. So no, I think there's people want to live lives that really count, justice, make a difference. Whether they actually do that is
an aspiration, maybe.
I mean, that's the classic conversation. But no, I think people are, and I think the church, again, I think there's an understanding, deeper understanding of all these social issues, you know, council budgets being cut. It's going to be the faith groups, particularly churches, who have a group of people who are willing to help, get involved, serve. So I think that's a very compelling cause for people to gather behind.
And actually, that's why we're in Birmingham today. Well, you live here, I'm visiting, because there is a vision in Gas Street to really bless this city. And you were talking a little bit earlier about that's particularly around vulnerable children. You're feeling a call there, and that's why my charity exists. So we're really excited to be here in that conversation. But the survey was actually commissioned because I just launched a new book. Let me show it to you. Oh yeah, you want to shamelessly plug it? That would be great. So the book is called Faitheism. It's a mash-up word. I'm pretty rubbish at that. I do that all the time.
I think it's great.
Paradoxology, that was the one before, and then this one. And it's trying to say, look, because of this openness with this younger generation, maybe we need to rethink the way we talk to people who say they're atheist or don't have any particular faith commitment. And it doesn't have to be a kind of full-on debate. It could be like you're having with your neighbours, a shoulder-to-shoulder conversation. As you both go to help the homeless, as you both go to try and bless this city, there'll be a reason that drives us that might be different to the reason that drives our non-Christian friends. But that's where the best conversations can have. Do you think that's right? Do you think there's a need for a kind of different form of, I suppose, evangelism and apologetics? Do you think there's a different way of doing that these days?
What were you going to say?
Well, no, I think the conversation is a really important thing and it's the humility and it's the wanting to understand. I think lots of people have been quite turned off by a lot of what we've maybe seen, politics or rhetoric. And I think there is there's things that we can learn from one another, and I think that humble debate, conversation actually can become a much more powerful way of actually journeying and really understanding better.
I think one of the best examples of that I can remember is when Stephen Fry and Bear Grylls were out in the wilderness together, and they're looking at this incredible vista, just the beauty of nature, and they're both wowed by it. But Bear's so kind of gracious, just sharing his story. He's not pushy, but he asks inquisitive questions of Stephen, and Stephen can get angry and shouty about faith, but that was a really different tone.
Well, I remember actually, because Bear very simply talked about, love of a father, and beautifully simply articulated. And Stephen said something on the lines of, if that's true, that sounds very exciting.
Once a minute, that's right.
But I think the key is in the asking questions. I think we don't always do a great job of listening. We want to get our point across. We want to share the truth at all costs. But actually, just sitting and listening to somebody else's story, asking them the questions, I think that is one of the most that's something that I have to try and remember. I like to talk, so I have to remember. Ask the questions. What do you think? How do you feel?
That's great.
And I think again, Alpha, I think, has done that. Particularly the group sessions in Alpha, where we've sat through so many Alpha. We got such a diverse group of people, atheists, and a whole bunch. And when you're sitting there, well, what do you think? You're not. I mean, sometimes it's frustrating. Someone's sharing all this weird theology, and you're like wanting to say that's totally wrong. But how the conversation is, well, what do you think? And that actually opens up relationship. And then it's no surprise you see people journeying.
That's right. We think it's all about hospitality, making room for another person and another person's views. And I guess that's another thing we're trying to do in the book, is that I've read a lot of Christian books about atheism, and I kind of don't recognise the atheists they're talking about. They're all like Richard Dawkins. They're all really angry. But most of the atheists I know are just pretty decent people. And we've got more in common than we have separately.
Absolutely.
But similarly, I've read a lot of atheist books about Christians, and I don't recognise the Christians. We're all dodgy people trying to picket funerals, or we're always judgmental. And again, most of the Christians I know are not like that at all. So if we can get beyond the stereotypes and begin to ask real questions of people, I think we'll have a better conversation. So, hey, thanks for this little interview. Really appreciate it, and hope you enjoy the book.
And
we'll be in touch soon. Tim Hughes, Rachel Hughes, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.